Welcome to Inning 9 of Spring Training, a 9-episode series from Cannon Church. I'm Tim Emmett, Senior Pastor at Cannon, and during spring training, we've connected the game of baseball and the life of Christian faith. You've probably seen or heard comedian George Carlin talk about the differences between baseball and football. Baseball, as he observed, is a 19th century pastoral game. Football is a 20th century technological struggle. Baseball is played on a diamond in a park. Football is played on a gridiron in a stadium, sometimes called things like Soldier Field and War Memorial Stadium. In baseball, there's the sacrifice fly. In football, there's blocking, tackling, spearing, clipping, and targeting. In baseball, there's the 7th inning stretch. In football, the 2-minute warning. Most of all, he describes the contrast between the purposes of the game, the goals of the game. In football, he says, the quarterback, also known as the field general, leads his troops into enemy territory. He launches a precisely timed aerial assault, combining short bullets with long passes while balancing that aerial assault with a ground attack, equally well orchestrated. In baseball, what's the goal? To go home, to be safe at home. We often think, speak, and sing of the goal of the Christian life in terms of going home. In some traditions, memorials, funerals, they're called going home services. When a loved one has died, we will say sometimes that they've gone home, and we sing, "I'll fly away," when the roll is called up yonder, and this world is not my home. And certainly there is that promise for us in the Bible, in the gospel, a promise of life after death, a promise that those who have lived and died and trusted in Christ will be with the Lord on the other side of death. But the hope for us, the promise for us, the one that is really central to the Bible is really not so much our going home to God as God coming home to us. It's because God has come to us that we can go to God. At the end of the Bible, the very end of the last book of the Bible, when we're given a vision of salvation completed fully, finally, and forever, it's not a vision of us going up, but of God coming down. Then I saw the new heaven and the new earth, the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, and the dwelling of God was with mortals, is with mortals. If you back up into the Bible, kind of from the end to the beginning, you run into the Apostle Paul talking repeatedly about our being built into a dwelling place for God and praying that Christ would dwell in our hearts through faith. If you keep backing up in the Bible, the Gospel according to John tells us that the Word became flesh and dwelled among us, literally tabernacled among us, and we've seen His glory. That, of course, evokes the tabernacle and the temple in the Old Testament, dwelling places for God in the midst of God's people. When Solomon finished the construction of the temple in Jerusalem, we're told that the glory of God filled the temple. God came to dwell in the midst of His people, just as He had in the tabernacle in the wilderness. When Moses led the people of God out of Egypt toward the promised land, they built a tabernacle, a portable meeting place. It was actually called a meeting place, and when that tabernacle was finished, once again, the glory of God filled the tabernacle. God dwelled in the midst of His people, all of which brings back memories of Eden, where we're told in the Bible, God walked in the garden in the cool of the day. The reason we have this hope of going home to God is that God's great passion, His great desire, the desire that drives the Bible, that drives the gospel, is for God to come and make His home with us. We can go home to Him because He has come home to us. That's inning 9 of spring training. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I hope you have a great week and a great summer.